Howdy. Welcome on into the pre-show.
Well-oiled machine.
Before the pre-show, where we're in the studio of Trombone Shorty.
Well, we were. Now it's Tribe Called Quest. I'm going to try to start playing music in the studio before we get out, before we start the show. First of all, shout out to the good brand. Shout out to the good brand.
Home field.
Shout out to our friends at Home
Hooting
Field Apparel.
intensifies.
The rice stuff is great. We are joined in the studio by our friend, for the next couple of hours, our colleague, the well-dressed Shahan Jayaraja. There's a couple of things to address. First of all,
yes.
Let's talk about this. your get up.
So, well, as people know, I'm the best dressed sports writer in the States.
That is objectively true.
Yeah.
Shout out Sam Kahn, who graciously bequeathed that title to you.
He is in retirement.
Yes.
Now with 2 kids.
Yes.
Also, in addition to obviously that being true, our fantasy football league that we do in the office, we do have a last place prize, and that is that you have to come into work in a tux. And that happened last year, and then a pandemic happened, so I just never did it. And
so today is quite
Redemption
literally
day.
your last day.
Quite literally.
And so if you didn't do it, you are going to leave with debt. You know what I mean?
And you can't do
seems
that.
a little serious, but yes.
Well,
I suppose
no,
that
is.
I don't know. Do you want to start your new job? Because we'll chase you down and make you do it at your new job.
I am fully remote in that new job, so I would just have to do it at home. I don't know. That sounds easy enough.
That's even more uncomfortable, though. I was gonna say, if I'm gonna dress up, I would rather go out than to sit at home and do it.
So last year there was a couple of weeks where I had to isolate and stuff because of close contact, and so I had to do Football Friday and stuff from home.
Yeah.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
sitting at home in a suit is a different kind of terrible.
And you had shorts on.
Yeah, I was going top half only.
I'm all the way done.
All the way done. Well, we're probably burying the lead here. Today is your last day with us.
It is.
And I know you're not at liberty to say where you're going, but
No,
you are going somewhere good.
It is.
It
is good.
We're very happy for you.
They don't want me to announce until I start, which, with a job like that, you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
It's next Monday. So I will say that. So it will
As in
be
this coming Monday.
This coming Monday. So you will get to know then.
But can we say that you are staying in the college football space?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm staying in the college football space. And
says it and ask on air.
Can we say that you're working? Oh, sorry.
and the other thing too that we can say
Chill.
is that this job that I'm going to take is fully remote. So I'll still be living 15 minutes from here. So I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
We can beat down his door whenever we feel the need to.
Exactly.
Right. Now you joined us in 2018.
18. Yeah.
You joined us in August 2018.
Yeah. Cool. That's a whole thing, but yes.
Yes. It's a whole thing. But
Nothing like getting thrown into the fire at DCT.
You've been here for 3 years.
After a months-long interview process.
Yeah. I remember interviewing you. We met at a
Starbucks in Carrollton.
It was myself, it was Ish, and it was Max Toms, it was Poochie. And we met you.
Damn,
I
got
at
a
Starbucks
conference room interview.
Carrollton. Yeah, you did. You got a real live interview. We just met at a Starbucks. It was I guess we'll.
They barely even asked me any questions. Cause
we really didn't. Well, because that's the thing, and I think you know this now. You know this working however you want to phrase it, with us for a while, which is, it's very important that we're too small of a staff for anybody for us to not like anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The personalities have to match.
No,
obviously you have to be able to do the job, and you've done a tremendous job here, but it's also important that you get along with everybody. You're not like a jerk.
For sure. And it's been a great ride. Honestly, I mean this sincerely. The hardest part is having to leave the people here. I love this job. I love being here. It's going to be very weird to not be a part of this. I keep saying this because it's true. I've never actually left a job that I liked before.
Yeah.
The last time I left a full-time job, it's because the company shut down. So this is a little different.
I guess that's one of our big announcements today. That's just going to
I thought it was just me who was fired. Everyone is too?
Yeah. Believe it or not. No. We're gonna miss you, desperately. First of all, like, we're thrilled for you. We really are. And I said this on Twitter, and I really mean it. All you can hope for is that the people you care about go on and succeed, and you're doing that. And so I am selfishly extremely angry with you, but like from a but like on the bigger picture, look, like we're thrilled for you. We're so happy for you.
Ish said he hates you.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's fair.
I
don't think I was related to this though.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I missed you there.
But you've done such unbelievable work here. We really do wish you the best. And this is also to promote the show coming up later today. We're going to get as much content out of you as possible on your last day.
Yeah, we are going to go live on the Facebook page at about 3 p.m., I think it is, and we're going to do basically a live Republic of Football episode. We're going to basically make it an AMA. Just ask me anything, whether it's football related, whether it's about me. Basically, the only thing I can't answer is too much information about my new job.
So where are you going?
He's running for Senate.
Where are you going?
He's running.
What are you doing?
That would be awesome.
That's
like
actually what the tux is for?
Like you open up the tux and it just says Jayaraja 2022.
I heard Herschel Walker was running, and I'm like, let me get in on that.
So tune
We're gonna
in.
miss you, bud.
Tune in today on Facebook.
Yeah, I do have to say one thing.
Yes.
I did make it like 12 ovens, so I did give you
12 ovens.
I did,
wow, that's the college football writer measurement of time is the oven. Well, we wish you nothing but the best. We're thrilled for you. We can't wait to see what you do next, and we are going to change the locks as soon as you leave. So just know that.
Don't come back.
But yeah, and okay, in your new job, and I know you're still working in the college football space, so I'm not giving anything away. But if you do run into Vince Young,
there's this trophy we kind of need him to come get.
I'll
flag him on it.
I'll tell him. I'll tell him.
All right, Shahan Jayaraja, we appreciate you, my man, and make sure you tune in 3 o'clock today on Facebook. So do that. Hit the theme, Expo. Let's go! Free money! Free money!
Hey, how to sing the blues, baby. Shot glass in your hand.
The Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tupper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, some other thing that I don't understand, or you're listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. And by the way, our podcast numbers are blowed up right now.
Yeah.
Yes, people like football.
Keep listening.
Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting here, and I'm sitting here in a Rice shirt, sitting over there from Home Field Apparel. I should say, our buddies at Home Field Apparel.
Super soft.
We love the good brand.
Ultimate softness.
Sitting over there in a Dallas Cowboys shirt.
Yeah.
She's the Duchess of the Dork. She's Ashley Pickle.
It's time to rep the boys. It's boys repping season.
Okay. Yeah, you were at the game on Saturday.
I was.
You and Malpal and another person I did not recognize.
Yeah.
Out there, 40-yard line, third row. I mean, I don't know how you got those tickets, but I mean,
connections, fella.
Impressive. Today,
actually, we had 4th level seats.
Today is Wednesday. Oh, I'm sorry. Also here in the studio.
Yeah, here's what people actually want to see.
Greg Powers.
Hey, Powers.
Hey, buddy. It's good to see you. Welcome back.
It feels like forever.
It's been a minute.
You know what? I was here last week, but y'all weren't.
No.
That is
Just
true.
to be fair.
That is
not.
true.
I didn't have a voice.
We were decidedly not here. But it's good to have you back, buddy. I'm sorry. I guess it's good for us to be back.
It's good for all of us to be together.
Be
How's
together.
that?
That's
We're
a
all
good way to
together
put it.
again.
That's a good way to put it.
Squad.
I'll take it. It's acceptable.
Today.
This is why I like Powers being here.
Today is Wednesday, August 25th, 2021. 92 days till Thanksgiving. And 1 day until kickoff of the 2021 Texas high school football season.
Let's go!
Whoa, yes. Wow, that was awesome.
That was for
I'm
the
so mad
football
I didn't get that on
fans.
camera.
I'm gonna have to measure. I'm gonna have to work with the audio so it doesn't blow out the ears of our podcast listeners. 92 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to.
You never look this up.
No, Rachel Ray. Happy birthday to Rachel Ray. Happy birthday to I don't know. Billy Ray Cyrus.
Okay.
There we go. We can work with that.
The father of Miley Cyrus.
That is
Excuse
true.
me, the man behind the greatest song of all time, "Achy Breaky Heart."
Oh, jeez.
Today is episode 1227. Okay, I'm gonna work backwards. Okay, because I want to tease vertically. Okay, that's what we're doing. You want to stick around to the end of the show. Okay, we have 2 major Texas Football Today announcements to make.
A big
2
one and an
major
even bigger one.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football announcements.
Yes.
That we will unveil here live at the back half of the show. Before that, we will be hearing from our good buddy from 247 Sports, the great Mike Roach. Talked with Greg Powers. Was that yesterday you talked
That
about?
was last night.
Last night.
Elite dude, that guy.
So I'm sure you both were very sober. And then, but before that, we will get into the normal rigmarole of This Week in Recruiting. But first, do we have first 4 through the door?
We sure do. It was Rob Hadaway, Aaron Arbuckle, Brent Homan, and Ryan Smiga. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, my friends. Okay,
Ooh, that was a good one.
let's do this. I'm Greg Tupper. That's Greg Powers, and this is This Week
In Cruton.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at NextLevelD1 to see his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express.
Good chicken.
You know what? This is. I'm gonna say something controversial here.
Oh.
A couple weeks ago,
Oh, God.
I don't
Couple
know
weeks
where
ago.
this is going.
I don't like where this is going.
I got some chicken E. Chicken E, of course, hits every time.
Every
Slaps.
time.
But I tried something that I'd never had before. I tried a new
Oh,
thing.
wow.
Okay.
And I know you are a fan of all things cheese sticks. I got to tell
You got Mott's?
I got their cheese sticks. And I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It was one of those
Man.
things. It was one of those things that my normal go-to side for summer, I think they were out. This particular location was out at the
Yeah.
time. So I was like, okay, I'll try the cheese sticks. And I'll be honest. I should have known better. My expectations were low. Because, it's a chicken place. It's like, they're not going to do there's no way they could be great
It's
at chicken and
the
all the
chicken
sides
place.
and also mozzarella sticks. Guys.
Their mozzarella sticks are
They're
legit.
really good.
They're really good.
I was like, whoa.
I don't ever give you credit for things you say, but that was a good. That was good. You did well.
I'm telling you, it hit. It's really good.
Always.
Anyway,
The cheese to breading ratio.
it's
It's
spot
not-
on.
it's spot
on.
on.
God.
Anyway, Chicken Express.
I could have a whole show over this.
I also have cheese sticks.
Ashley's Mott's reviews.
I got to figure out my list of Chicken Express locations that I haven't been to. I mean,
It's-
I've really been to some obscure ones
Yeah,
this
you have.
year. You know, like you missed it last week, but I was to the Jacksboro
Ooh.
Okay.
Chicken Express.
Okay.
So
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. Let's get to our prospect on the rise. Prospect on the rise. Let's go down to Converse Judson, where they've got a big season opener this week against DeSoto. And they will feature one of the highest risers in the state in their senior linebacker, Treylin Payne. Treylin Payne is the Houston verbal commitment. He is now our number 5 inside linebacker in the state in the class of 2022. He is also our 97th ranked player in the DCTF Hot 100. This is a guy, feels like you always know what you're getting from a guy like Treylin Payne.
Well, and just for the recruiting fans in general, the top 100, the Hot 100, DCTF Hot 100 was updated on Sunday. We had 4 new 4-stars as well as some new debuts in the top 100. Treylin Payne was one of those names. And one thing that really jumps out to me when breaking down his film is his athleticism, his ability to cover not only, the opponent's run game, but he's good in pass coverage as well. He's a new age style of linebacker, brings a little bit of everything to the table, and that's why I really think that he should be rated squarely in that top 100. He's a guy who he's collected over 250 tackles the last 2 seasons, and he's going to have another big year this year, I think.
He is. You and I have had long conversations about the changing dynamics of defense and how hybrid is the new word.
Right.
Like hybrid is the new the what you've got to be. You've got to be versatile. And this guy feels like Treylin Payne feels like he fits that mold. That this is the guy that he plays like a safety that they line up at linebacker. He doesn't have like the beefy size of that traditional middle linebacker, but whatever he lacks in that kind of overall size, his size is good, 6'2", 200. But like he more than makes up for in just flying to the football and making plays when he gets there.
Well, teams are going to try to get away with playing 2 linebackers when they can,
Yep.
5 defensive backs, or they're going to use a third linebacker like this guy who can do a little bit of everything. You're not afraid to throw him out there in coverage. He's not a liability. And this is just a huge pickup for Dana Holgorsen and the Houston Cougars all around. And seriously, recruiting fans, check out the updated rankings. We have fleshed out positional rankings. I think we have a top 10 listed at every position but fullback and tight end. There are no fullbacks on our site right now, and I don't think we've had a fullback profile in a while. Maybe we should remove that category.
I can tell you this.
No.
As the guy who did the who did the recruiting between the numbers in the magazine, there was a grand total of 1 fullback signed in FBS last year.
And
Now that does not count. I'm sure Army signed a fullback,
Right.
And
That
I'm sure
seems
Navy
on
signed
brand.
a fullback, but they don't count. They don't sign letters of intent. And so, but yeah, the fullback, unfortunately,
R.I.P. to a good one.
yeah, RIP to a rule.
no hate to Nick Ralston. We hope you make the team.
Love, but there's just it's unfortunately it's a dying breed. Let's get to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, we're going to stick on the defensive side. Go up to the DFW Metroplex. Talk about 2022 Arlington Martin defensive end R.J. Cooper, Ernest Cooper, but they call him R.J. He has pulled the trigger. The 4-star prospect, the number 19 prospect in the DCTF Hot 100, is committed to the Cardinal singular, as technically like it's a color of Stanford. He's committed to them over Texas A&M. Arlington Martin, of course, has a history of putting out outstanding edge rushers. Ernest Cooper is the next one, and he's going to Stanford, where they have had a history of taking DFW area edge rushers and turning them into, say, hypothetically, top 3 picks in the NFL draft.
Agreed, and this is a huge commitment. I actually thought that he might be leaning towards Texas A&M whenever he made this decision. But surprise, he's going to go to Stanford, which offers the best of both worlds, I think. You know, they crank out guys who can play in the NFL, as you stated, and they offer such a high academic class. You know, that I mean, it is what it is. When you're looking at Stanford, you have that offer. It's hard to say no to that. You know, it just provides you such an opportunity. If football doesn't work out or life after football, it's going to be a big deal for R.J. Cooper. And I think this is one of the guys who I have like circled on my list that I think is going to have like a huge senior season. When he broke out, and you'll remember watching him in the playoffs when he was a sophomore. I can't remember who they got bounced by, but it was a game in AT&T Stadium, and you could see like he was a gazelle, but a baby one.
Yeah.
And now he's like grown into a full monster, you know, and he started picking up offers then. And this year I think is going to be like that season where everybody takes note of him.
He's a monster out there. And another guy who's got a big week 1 test. They take on Lake Travis and a really good Lake Travis offensive line. And so we'll get some really good tape on Ernest R.J. Cooper, the newest commitment to the Stanford Cardinal. We're talking this week in recruiting with Greg Powers and Excellent Athlete here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag TFToday. Let's go to our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week, sticking in the DFW Metroplex. Let's go to North Mesquite, to their 2023 wide receiver, Cordell Russell. He has committed to SMU, the Ponies. Haul in Cordell Russell. He had offers from the SEC, like Tennessee and Arkansas. He had offers from the Big Ten, like Minnesota. Offers from like the Pac-12, like Utah. He is a guy who we had in our top 100 in Dave Campbell's Texas Football in the class of 2023, and a guy who once again continues the trend of SMU sealing the borders here in the DFW Metroplex.
It's really impressive. I feel like we're talking about SMU all the time in recruiting right now, and justifiably so, because this is another huge pickup. You're going to see Cordell's stats flash across the screen right now. As a sophomore, he racked up 637 yards and 6 touchdowns. So another one of these guys who I think is going to continue to progress as he matures and it becomes that go-to guy. He had some experience playing quarterback as a youngster, and I was always curious if North Mesquite would find a spot for him under center as he grew up in that program, but he's become such a beast split out wide that he is, I mean, it's hard to not put him there, you know, and he's a true outside receiver, 6'2", around 180 pounds, 185 pounds, and he has such a huge upside. He's only going to get better and better as he gets more reps. So I really am impressed with what Cordell Russell's bringing to the table, and such a great start for SMU in the class of 2023.
Yeah, and one of those examples of just getting in early. You know what I mean? Getting in on a guy early, and that's what they were able to do here with Cordell Russell, SMU bound now at the North Mesquite 2023 wide receiver. Let's round it all out with our Recruit of the Week. Our Recruit of the Week is a name you need to familiarize yourself with. It is DJ Hicks, the defensive end from Allen, transferred to Allen in the offseason from Katy Morton Ranch. He has been named the #1 player in Texas in the class of 2023 by Rivals.com. He's a Rivals.com 5-star. He's already got 35 offers. If you recognize, Hicks is kind of a common last name, but he is a guy who's got good bloodlines. His dad played in the for the Kansas City Chiefs for a little bit, and he is now on the staff there for Allen there at Chad Morris. Chad Morris is involved. This is a guy who you're going to need to know. He's going to be one of those guys who's in the mix for a Dave Campbell's Texas Football 5-star ranking. David Hicks, Rivals has certainly paid attention to what he's doing.
Yeah, he was named the #1 player in the Rivals.com recently updated rankings there, and I think it's a good pick. You know, I'm currently torn right now on the top player in the class of 2023. I'm most strongly considering DJ Hicks and Jalen Hill at Longview, but I'd like to evaluate maybe a couple more weeks into the season, or maybe 3 games into the season, to try to make like a definitive answer. I hate making a guy like #1 and then having to lower him. That's like,
right.
You know, when you're the #1 guy, you really kind of want to make sure that you're making a solid pick and you want it to be the guy. But I have to say that he brings a lot of things to the table that a #1 player would bring to the table. He has a tremendous first step. His explosion is out of this world, and he exhibited that at 220, 225 pounds. You know, he started getting some playing time as a freshman, and now that he's 250 pounds, he hasn't lost a step. And another thing that I really like about Hicks is that his dad's a coach, so he understands the game. He's technically sound, but he's not afraid to go out and take reps against the elite and go around the country and compete at camps. You know, he had all these offers. I think he had 30 offers, and he still went on like a huge camp tour to earn more offers, and that's when you saw schools like Clemson and Ohio State, Alabama, those kind of schools put the icing on the cake of what is one of the premier offer lists, not only in the class of 2023, but barring any class across any state, DJ Hicks has those offers.
He's a monster. I mean, he's a bona fide monster, and a guy who I think is going to be a guy we're talking about. It's certainly Look, I'm comfortable saying he's going to be a top 10 prospect for us in the class of 2023.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
he's
easy.
in the running to be #1.
Yeah, exactly.
He should be #1 or #2.
He is a monster off there, and I feel like people, now that he's, you know, he was at Katy Morton Ranch, he transfers to Allen. Maybe people will get some more eyes on him, stuff like that. So it'll be very, very interesting to see.
You know what is also interesting is you can't say that people are sleeping on Allen, right? Like, that's like a thing that you can't.
There's the understatement
that
of the
you
year.
can't say.
Yeah.
But I feel like a player like Hicks, and relevant is the wrong word, but a player like Hicks being on Allen's roster
maybe like overshadowed a little bit just because the sheer numbers that are there.
Well, I think last year's Allen team wasn't exactly the Allen team that we, come to expect.
It was by Allen standards a fair Allen team,
right?
You know what I mean? By Allen standards, which is, those are insane standards. And so now, but they still have the big spotlight. And so obviously, that he'll get more eyes on him. This is with all due respect to Katy Morton Ranch, but he'll get more eyes on him at Allen than he will at Katy Morton Ranch, because he could have transferred from pretty much any school in the state to Allen and would have gotten more eyes on him.
Well, because of Hicks and Chad Morris and everything else, Allen is must-see Texas high school football this year. This is a team and a player that I have to see.
Speaking of must-see Texas high school football, he's Greg Powers, Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter, Next Level D1. He has fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And Powers is going to stick around because he's going to introduce the next segment. We are at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. 2 magazines, a year's worth of exclusive online content. If you want your Week 1 Tep and Step preview, plus tons of content on textfootball.com for insiders. textfootball.com/subscribe. Reminder, coming up after this interview, 2 major announcements here on Texas Football Today, so stick around. But before that, Powers, who'd you talk to this week?
We caught up with 247's Mike Roach, who covers the Texas Longhorns there, and he's one of the best recruiting reporters in the game and a close personal friend of, I think, everybody in this room.
He's our buddy.
Yep.
So here is Greg Powers' conversation with Mike Roach of 247 Sports here on Texas Football Today.
Greg Powers, TexasFootball.com, and this week we're joined by a special guest. I'm happy to have Mike Roach from 247 Sports on Horns 247, one of the best in the entire recruiting industry for sure, and a close personal friend. Mike, thanks for joining us this week.
Coming from you, Greg, a guy that was a big-time influence on me when I first got in the business, that means a lot. So I'm glad to join you anytime.
I always like to follow your work, man, and you're one of the best followers on Twitter as well. Where can the fans find you at on social media?
That's Mike Roach 247 on Twitter, and then Mike Roach _247 on Instagram. I'm trying to grow my Instagram, so check that out.
Nice. Man, I feel like this has been one of the craziest recruiting years that I can ever remember. We not only had to deal with the pandemic in 2020, which kind of changed the recruiting landscape. We've dealt with a lot of changes in the recruiting rules, but one of the big changes I know for you personally and for the Texas Longhorns has been a move to the SEC coming in the future. And I just kind of wanted to get your expertise and break down on what the reaction's been out there in the streets to that move.
The reaction was strong right off the bat, and I think that then everybody saw 2025 as the target date, and that's when, a lot of kids in this class were like, well, that doesn't really affect me then if they're going in 2025. Greg, you know as well as I do, every recruit out there thinks they're going 3 years now,
right?
And they'll be into the NFL. But, with more increasing chatter, I guess, that Texas could probably be a 2022 entry into the SEC or even 2023. I think that it does become more real for them and Oklahoma. It certainly presents both with an advantage and evens the playing field with a school like Texas A&M that's been doing so well in the state lately. I think that it definitely helps there with Steve Sarkisian and the new coaching staff.
You mentioned it. You mentioned the new coaching staff, Steve Sarkisian, and they've got a lot of, coaches that are really good at recruiting. Texas is always going to be a premier school as far as it's not only recruiting in the Lone Star State, but nationally. What has been, your impression of how that staff has been recruiting so far? It looks like they've changed it up somewhat to look more nationally, or at least they have a good eye turned towards some national names. But as always, Texas is going to be a key area of focus for them.
Yeah, I think they definitely want to win a lot of those battles, and they do still have a lot of important Texas targets, especially when you talk about guys like Evan Stewart, Devon Campbell, Cam Dewberry. Those are still Brennan Thompson. Those are big in the state of Texas that they absolutely want to win. And, they are kind of leaning on a little bit of that national experience. I think that they've done a good job in some areas. I think that they've lost some battles in other areas that they're probably kind of puzzled by why. And so, for them, it's just kind of about putting together this class and then in the fall showing what they have on the field and hoping they can close strong down the stretch.
One of those big names from out of state is quarterback commit Malik Murphy. And, I personally spend a lot of time talking about in-state recruits. That's my focus, working at TexasFootball.com. But I know that this is a guy that you've had a lot of chances to see in person. So you have a certain expertise when it comes to breaking down this young man's game. Why should Longhorns fans be excited about Mr. Murphy?
There's two things that I think should really excite Texas fans. And first is just the kind of he is. He's an awesome person. He comes from a rough neighborhood, Inglewood, California, and maybe didn't grow up under the best circumstances, but you never know it talking to him. He's an incredibly positive person. He's a great leader. He's really And then I think if you look at his tools, they're off the charts for a quarterback. I mean, the raw arm strength and ability to drive the ball he shows are something you just don't see a lot. And so I think that while he does still have a lot of development in front of him, has a lot of experience he needs before he can really hone his where he needs to be. When you look at the raw tools and you look at a kid that works as hard as he does and is as coachable as he is, and then you look at a guy with a quarterback history like Steve Sarkisian has, you got to be excited about their ability to develop those tools.
The highest rated recruit on the commitment list from in-state at 247 Sports is Brian B.J. Allen Jr. at Aledo, Texas. On the defensive side of the ball, to me, he's one of those safeties who can not only get to the football quickly and lay the wood, he's pretty solid in coverage. I know he's another one that you've got to see a lot, and I know Texas Longhorn fans have got to be excited about him as well.
Yeah, a lot of range. That's what I like about him. He's physical. He'll run the alley. He'll come up and hit you. And we've all got to see a lot of him. You play at Aledo, you get to play 16 games every year. So we get a lot of chances to see him. And, I wouldn't doubt if we saw him playing 16 again. And how cool would that be for Brian Allen to finish his high school career with 3 straight state championships and really going to college as one of the more decorated and experienced players in the game. I think that, what he brings to the safety position is that kind of that big body striker, but he can play in coverage. He can support on the run. And, he's going to be a guy that's called upon to do a lot more at Aledo this year, especially with guys like JoJo Earl and Jace McClellan moving on.
Any players on that list you feel like is a sleeper that we really should keep our eye on, or a guy that you like maybe a little bit more than the recruiting rankings might suggest?
2 guys, actually. They're 2 lone offensive line commits in this class, are both 3-star guys, and I think they're really strong players. Connor Robertson at Austin Westlake and Cole Hudson at Frisco. I think, you talk to people in Cole Hudson's district, and there's some really respected coaches in that area, and they'll tell you, I had one tell me that he's the best offensive lineman he's ever coached against. And I think that because Frisco does run like a wing T concept, you don't get to see all of Cole's tools, but I think that's a guy that you can really build on. And Greg, I know that's kind of up in your neck of the woods, so you're probably pretty familiar with Cole. And then Connor, I mean, if you watch that,
Mike, he pancaked my son last year in a game.
Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, so you're very familiar with him, and your son is as well. And the thing about Cole is as mean as he is on the field and as physical he is on the field, he'll probably pick you up afterwards and give you a smile and a pat on the back. He's a great kid. But Connor Robertson as well. Westlake has. It's funny that Westlake, traditionally Todd Dodge has been a big time air it out guy, but Westlake's really developed this physical, nasty, upfront ability. Todd Dodge in the last couple of years, and I feel like Connor Robertson embodies that. He's a guy that I think can probably play 4 of the 5 positions up front, and a lot of versatility, a lot of tenacity, toughness. I get that he probably doesn't have a lot of the ceiling or the measurables that people look for, but when you just look at his production on the field, he's a really strong player.
A guy that you recently caught up with, Evan Stewart at Frisco Liberties, not only now the number 1 rated recruit in the state on multiple recruiting services. To me, he's a viral sensation. Everybody wants to get Evan Stewart. He was a one-time Texas commit. You recently caught up with this young man, so without giving away too many details on the story, and you guys can, of course, check that out at Horns 247. Go check out and give Mike's story with Evan Stewart a read. Where are things sitting with him, and is Texas still like a serious contender?
Yeah, absolutely. Evan's a guy that I kind of came to know last year right before the quarantine started, and he had no offers really at that point, but you looked at him and said, wow, this kid is a track star. He runs, 10.7 in the 100. He runs 21.02 in the 200. He's a triple jump and long guy. And when you looked at the film and the production that he was able to put up, you got really excited. And so he was a guy I kind of met before he had offers. And I told him, I was like, I think you can be the number 1 player, like receiver in the country one day. I really do. I think you have that ability. He has freakish ability. And I'm kind of glad now because I said some wild things about Evan back in the day and he's kind of backed them up. I told somebody once, I thought he was a faster version of Garrett Wilson, which that will make somebody go, you think he's that good? Yeah, I do. I do think he's that good. He's an insane athlete, and he's done nothing but really up his ante this spring. He's basically down to 4 schools at this point. He's taken 2 official visits, 1 to Texas and 1 to Florida. Alabama and LSU will get official visits in the fall, and he wants to go back and take a couple of other unofficials to Texas and maybe even to Florida. Right now, Florida's the perceived leader. And a lot of that has to do with them having Nick Evers. who played 7-on-7 with Evan for Texas Flex and the select 7-on-7 scene. But, while Evan did acknowledge that he's got a great relationship with Nick and he loves the Florida coaching staff, he did maintain he's pretty open at this point. I think Texas has done a really good job maintaining that because, Greg, when a guy decommits, sometimes I think both sides can go their own ways. And I think Texas has done a great job just staying on him, of course. I think that he is excited about the possibilities of what he could be in Steve Sarkisian's offense. He does see himself as a bit of a Devontae Smith. So, for Texas, it's just going to be showing that they can produce offensively this year and that they can utilize a talent like his.
Mike, you're one of the best crystal ball pickers out there when picking for the Texas Longhorns, right? Those are the ones that I really follow. When you make a Longhorn selection, I still, hey, we got to pay attention. Definitely when that comes through. Is there one out there that you made that you feel real confident in right now, or is most of the commitments already like in the bag at this point?
I made it super early, and the longer they go, the less positive you always feel about them. I have not lost positivity on my pick for Devon Campbell from Arlington Bowie to land at Texas. I just think there are too many factors in Texas's favor there. A lot of them being that, Texas was one of the first schools to offer. He's a great relationship with Kyle Flood, who's come in and taken over that recruitment. Chris Gilbert now being on staff has helped a lot because, Chris being a former high school coach in South Dallas, he knows a lot of those kids up and down I-20. And I think that Texas has a lot of things in their favor. It's another one where it is theirs to lose. They could definitely mess it up they've kind of are looking at maybe running wire to wire as the leader in this recruitment and signing, the number one offensive guard in the country.
I kind of wanted to close it on something that relates to both of us as we go throughout our recruiting journeys covering high school prospects. One of the big changes in the recruiting landscape and into college football is the NIL. And that's something that really is, I think, going to change the atmosphere for the guys that we cover as well. Like we're going to have a different mentality as we talk to some of the kids, and maybe their attitudes will change. But one thing that I'm happy to say is that covering recruits in the Lone Star State specifically, they seem to be pretty grounded. And even though these NIL changes have happened, it seems to me like the kids have stayed pretty focused.
Yeah, for the most part. I think it's so hard to quantify the NIL stuff right now because nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows what it's going to be. I think that it's one of those in college athletics, you see a rule or something come out and it's usually very narrowly defined. And as it goes on, it gets broader in scope. Whereas I think NIL came out really broad. And in the next couple of years, they're going to have to figure out how to narrow it and really drill down. And I think right now, schools are pitching anything they can when it comes to it because it's kind of an anything goes situation. But even the kids, they'll talk about it a little bit, but I don't think they've even got a great grip on the way they can maximize it. And, the schools that get out to those early leads and figure out the best way to do it, those are the schools that are going to benefit from it. I think it was one of those things where it sounds great for everybody and it probably only benefits the 1% of the 1% that right. can command the type of money off their name, image, and likeness. But I am in favor of players being able to control that aspect of their life. I do enjoy, like that they can now sign autographs or make money off their jersey sales or those sorts of things. So I'm very interested to see kind of how it plays out over the next few years.
And the one big one, Mike, the return of NCAA football potentially on the gaming platform. That's the one that I'm pretty excited about. And I know a lot of people who listen to this are going to be excited to get their hands on that game when it drops.
I just hope it's good. They haven't made it in so many years. I hope it doesn't come out and it's bad. But yes, absolutely. I keep a PS3 plugged in with NCAA 13 in it. So,
man, I do 14. So that's the one that I like to play the most. And then I'm hopeful that it doesn't go down the same road that Madden's went down in the last few years. The game seems to have not been as strong. So when NCAA drops, I'm hopeful it's like a return to the great football game that we all know and love.
Same. Crossing fingers.
Mike Roach, he's in the know on the Texas Longhorns. You need to give him a follow. Follow his website as well. He writes all the best stories following the Horns recruiting, man. Thanks for the time. As always, we enjoy your presence here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and we look forward to having you on as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. You guys do a great job of covering football in the state. You're all good friends of mine. And shout out Ashley Pickle, who's going to edit this. And I appreciate you for having me on.
Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks, man.
All right.
There he is, Mike Roach, doing his just changing his voice there at the end, which is
Yeah.
Greg
great.
Powers,
What?
TexasFootball.com.
Who was he doing?
Good joke for an audience of like 6.
Amazing. Roach, you're my guy.
Anyway, we appreciate Mike Roach from 247 hopping on with us. Good dude. All right, so are you ready for these announcements? We got these two major announcements. The first major announcement from Dave Campbell's Texas Football is
Bam!
the Football Friday app is out. You can quit emailing me. The
Quit
Football
DMing us.
Friday app is up. It's the best way to get Texas high school football game updates. Every Friday night, fans using the app have the ability to do live score updates and can chat with other fans on any game happening in the Lone Star State. Join us on Friday nights and follow your favorite Texas high school football teams. It is available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
And it's like actually available right now on both of those.
If you have the app, I'll use the old name, the Fox Football Friday app, the Fox Sports Southwest Football Friday app. This is an update to that existing app, just rebranded and overhauled. We have we've spent months and months and months putting this app together to make it the best user experience and make an already awesome app even awesomer. So, the Football Friday app is up right now. If you don't have it, what's wrong with you? Search Football Friday in the Google Play Store or in the Apple App Store. Make sure you go there and check that out. The app is up right now.
Yeah, and if you have the app and you open it and it hasn't updated, go to your app store and press the update button, and it will update.
Right. So, the app is up. The Football Friday app. Search
And it
football.
looks good.
It looks really good. It's super user-friendly. The app, it's on your app store right now. If you already have the Fox Sports Southwest Football Friday app, it is the same app. It's hard to say. It's like the same place. It's just update that. It is an update to that existing app. You do not need to download a different app. But if you have not downloaded the Football Friday app, what in the heck are you doing? It is the best high school football app out
It's
there.
awesome.
I know. You know who uses it all the time? Coaches.
Yep.
Coaches use that app a ton. Anyway, the Football Friday app available on Google Play and on the Apple App Store. So there is big announcement number 1. Maybe you knew about that one. It's now time for big announcement number 2.
An even
You
bigger
say it's an even
announcement.
bigger announcement.
It is.
You may want to get a tissue for this one. For the segment that is sweeping the nation.
It's not true in any way,
Free
shape, or
money!
form.
That's right. Free money.
I'm not encouraging you.
And now it's time for America's
No.
favorite segment, Free Money!
No, I think
Free money! It's time for Free Money! Nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop the freight train. That is
Final thoughts.
Free Money! It is with deep regret that we announce the departure of America's favorite segment, Free Money.
Let's go! We did it, guys! We did it!
I won't go into too many of the details because there's legal issues pending, but we were contacted by a number of very powerful people in Las Vegas who were very upset that we were giving out all their winners. And so we were served a cease and desist. Free Money will not be returning for the 2021 season. It's a tough time, and we would appreciate certainly if you would hold a thought and say a prayer. It's a loss to the Dave Campbell's family. You know, Free Money was like a brother to all of us, and I know it was, we received accolades far and wide from people saying, I don't really like anything about your show except Free Money, and so
People are demanding I get a raise.
so it's a tough day. It's a tough day
It's
here.
a party on Twitter.
It's a tough day.
Party on Twitter.
R.I.P.
Go
Free
on
money.
Twitter and let's all celebrate together.
You were America's favorite segment for 4 seasons. But you will not be. Was that right? 16, 17, 18,
I'm surprised the
19.
overall
No,
record
5
wasn't
seasons.
The
5
overall
seasons.
record.
I have an overwhelmingly winning record. Free money. Will not
Celebrate.
return
R.I.P.
for the
A day
2021
of
season.
celebration.
5 years.
A day of
hardly-
celebration.
We hardly knew you.
Remember this day forever.
That's gonna do it for us. Whew, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with us. Sorry,
I know that was hard.
I
I
like
get
that
to-
we don't even get to actually have America's favorite segment now, which is final thoughts.
Oh, do you want to have the second favorite segment?
Most favorite.
I don't know if it.
Promoted once and for all
I don't think
today.
that's,
America's favorite segment. Final thoughts, baby. We
excuse
did
me,
it.
excuse me. Just because something is dead doesn't mean that its legacy doesn't live on. Final thoughts will always be America's second favorite segment.
No.
Just
No, it was promoted
posthumously-
today.
Posthumously, Free Money is still America's favorite
Well, I
segment.
mean, This Week in Recruiting is now America's favorite segment. Is this not true?
Ooh.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk to our friends at Chicken Express
Final
about
thoughts
that.
get some no
Let's go over
loves.
to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
I don't even know if I even have any final thought. Oh, what's your favorite what's your favorite side at Chicken Express?
I'm a
Since you talked about that
I'm a
earlier.
fried pickles guy. They didn't have any fried pickles when I did. I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
I'll dial up some cheese sticks, and they rolled.
I got them ranked: mozzarella sticks, then mini poppers.
Interesting.
I still gotta try those mini poppers.
They're
I
pretty
haven't
good.
done them yet. The fried okra's pretty good.
I was
too.
fixing to say I really enjoy the okra because I never get okra anywhere else.
It's a tough day here. Shahan's leaving.
A
Free
day
Money's dead.
of celebration, not about
That's
Shahan.
going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook. Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram. Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hey, Powers, thanks.
Thank you. That was awesome.
I don't know what your last one.
Pickle had me rolling there
Thanks
with that last comment.
Thanks to Mike Roach.
Dub.
24/7. I didn't even hear. I got too much pain in my ears. Thanks to Mike Roach of 247 Sports for being our guest. Download the Football Friday app. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tupper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow, as we will still be mourning here on Texas Football Today.
Celebration.